Not muted. You've not unmuted us.
I have now. So, good evening and welcome to the usual Chris Screws Up the Audio of the KOTE Show. I'm your host, Chris, with Brett here as well. Thank you again, Aurora, for pointing out this. I have a big fucking red button on my desk saying unmute audio. One day I will read it. So this is round 6 of KOTE, and this is really exciting because we're in round robin, and as Brett said while we were on mute, we're coming close to the end of round robin, and round robin has gone down a hell of a lot better than I thought it was going to. So thanks to everyone making it so
That might have
successful.
to do with the 4 extra groups we added, because if we hadn't had those extra groups, we'd only be, what, 2/3 of the way through round robin?
Yeah, that we were never going to do that more than the groups we've got, nor the number of players or groups we had. So it's just not feasible. But no, I mean, it's going really great. We're getting lots of great feedback. We've only had 2 teams drop, and one because of KPL, and the other one, I think they just weren't feeling it. But it's been great to see, and it's great to have you all involved. I mean, we've just announced KOTE 9 to our Patreons.
Yep.
And as promised, KOTE 9 is a simpler format. Yeah, right. KOTE 9 is an interesting format. If you're a Patreon subscriber, as thank you to Dr. Sheep for joining just to see what the KOTE 9 format was. You're welcome to come on. And so this is Patreon subscribers for KOTE only. We have 3, I believe, in total, 2 of which will be on the credits tonight. Dr. Sheep is the latest one, and thank you for everything he does to help us out here. And any money we get through Patreon will go straight back into supporting us, producing this show, potentially prize support in the future, and subsidising other things to help us out, or help us out with you going forward.
And as usual, KOTE 9 will be revealed to everybody else when we go into the top 32.
So 2 weeks today, is that right? Am I getting that right this time? Yeah, and you'll be looking for some odd decks.
It's definitely a really interesting format, and for as much as we discussed it in the admin chat, trying to make it work, it's not. I managed to make a very simple explanation for it.
You did the best. You did the best with a bad bunch of bits. Should we go that way? It's a brilliant format. It's just a really hard one to get your initial head around. But after that,
after the last 2 ones of multiple decks and multiple sasses and so much going on for both us and players to have to organise and work out each week, this is a nice palate cleanser.
Oh god, yeah. Oh god, yeah. So, let's start with the news. Where's our random news video that I should do? News. There we go. So, the news. The news is where we go through the events from around the world. Each week we go through what's changing in KOTE and the high-level Keyforge points that we want to share with everyone.
I should really update that on my new software.
Yeah, I've got a couple of requests. But yeah, let's. It's actually really good, man, I think. So, the key thing here, we've got this new Patreon subscriber and KOTE 9's up. That's the first point. The second point is, this week in KOTE, we are coming up to the last week of the group stages. Now, for those of you who haven't done the last KOTE event, and we did this for the first time last time, I believe, maybe the time before, we're doing 6. Okay, so this is the third. We are having a multiple playoff round to break into multiple top cuts. The reason we have multiple top cuts is quite often the teams at the bottom want to keep playing because they like the chance of having a cut at people that should be at their level, and the people at the top want to play because they want to cut to get people through to the end to find out who's the overall winner, and people in the middle cuts are less keen because they're not going to make the top cut, but they consider themselves too good for the bottom cut, so they drop in the second cut.
A good example of this is Keyfrogs. Keyfrogs had their first event in KOTE 7. They played all the way through to the end of the bottom cut. They won cut 5. They soaked in as much as they could getting it about KOTE, and now in their second cut, they've got a chance to get into the top cut. They've sort of taken that win of the bottom cut and gone, okay, so we know we can do well. We know we can play at this level. Let's go all out in the next one.
Yeah. So I'm going to just probably upset Brett by doing this, but I'm going to take a few seconds to go through the current standings and explain how the cut split's working, because of course, as you know, we have 12 groups, and 12 is not really to the power of 2 value, which means it's a little bit more complicated than I would have liked. So
12 does not fit into 32 or 16 quite easily,
or 8 or 4. So yeah, so this page will be made public later today. This is what I'm calling the current standings page. So this is dynamic. This is not the final results of the group stages. It will be this time next week. But this is currently who is where in the thing. So I've zoomed them in a little bit so you can see it a bit better. So the first 12 people to qualify for the top cut, and it will be a top 32, will be the winning team of each group. So here from this list you can see there's one from each group listed here, and this is their current score, and this is the first 12 teams to make up the group.
Yeah, and if you look at the scores like Knowledge is Power and the Russian Smiths, if you actually go into their group and look, they cannot, there's no feasible way for those two teams not to make it into the top cut as top of their group.
Yeah,
and Lickall would have to have the worst game of their lives in order for them not to make it.
I think Lickall had the bye this week. Oh, they had the bye last week. I was going to say, yeah, worst game of the life against the bye.
It's good for these standings to go live because it allows teams to look at the scores, look at the other teams in second place and in third place, and basically able to assess what they need to do to get that chance to go into the top cut.
Yeah,
you're able to plan ahead. You're able to take into account what other teams need to win and fail. It lets you set up exactly how many keys you need to have forged to stay second in your group, or to how many games you need to win to actually climb up.
Sure. So the next position here is the highest second places. Now we take the 8 highest second places. So obviously this is no more than one per group, and this is currently the standings. Unfortunately, for the first time this event, my team is no longer in this section. I'm sorry for losing again. I've not yet won a game apart from the bye. And as Brett says, this is where people will be looking to see, okay, to qualify second in my group, and then also to be above 4 matches, 12 games, and 48 keys.
There's a couple of groups where the second, third, and fourth places are all ridiculously close.
One thing to point out with this table today is the only issue with this table is it doesn't account for ties. Ties, of course, will be factored in when we do the review at the end of the week, but if there's currently a tie, that is not reflected here. So that's 20. So we have 12 plus 8, which is 20. And as I said, we have a top 32. So this comes into where the playoff comes in. Playoff 1 is the next highest team, and is the winner of the playoff goes into the top cut. The loser of the playoff goes into the second cut.
Yeah. And the top cut qualifier will be made up of 4 second place teams, 12 third place teams, and 8 fourth place teams.
That's not quickly. That depends on the winner of the playoff, man.
No, I mean the top cut qualifier. Yeah, the playoff will be made up of 4 second place teams, 8 fourth place teams, and 12 third place teams. So even fourth places have a chance to make it into the top cut here.
Sure. And just to explain it the way I'm going to explain it, because hopefully between one of these two ways everyone will realise that I think Brett's explanation will be better than mine, is if you take away the winners of the group, you take away the people we qualify as the next 8, then it is the current then top of the group and the second place of that group will have a chance to qualify by playing someone else in a different group. So if you're coming the next top in the group, you'll play against the next second place in a different group. So on the left here is we have the next people in the running from one group, and then on the right we have the position afterwards.
The easiest way to explain it is if next Tuesday you go to the standings and you see the second place in your group is in the auto qualify section, and you're 4th in your group, you're in the playoffs to go into the top cut.
You'll be in this list on the right here.
Exactly.
Okay, so the winners, as we said, they make up the final 12 of the top cut. The losers then go into the second cut. The second cut then has the 8 highest scoring teams with no more than 1 per group. And then there's a second playoff where the winners of this playoff go into the second cut and the losers make the third cut. And then we have everyone else.
Yeah. There's only, due to the fact we're going into top 32s and not top 16s last time, there's only 3 cuts this time, not 5.
Because we wanted to give a chance for more people to qualify for the top cut. Exactly. I only added 1 extra week. So, I haven't been following the chat, so is that making any sense to anyone?
No one in the chat's complaining, but if they've got any questions, I'm sure they'll pop in with them.
Please do, guys, please do. I mean, I appreciate this could be more simple, but we couldn't think of a way without excluding too many people playing.
If we'd have got 10 more teams entering, we'd been able to go into 16 groups, and then that would have been much easier. But 12 is an awkward number.
Just to be clear, when you say 16 is easier than 12, you and I are having a long conversation one day about why that is not
16 is
true.
more divisible into 32, and
That is true.
8.
I'll let you have that bit. Shepherdings. We would have to come up with 4 new names.
Well, we've got 3 Patreons, so we'll just put on it. We'll name groups after them, and then and then we pick one for, and then we'd have a group that rotates with whoever the current quiz winner is.
Oh god! Don't give me ideas, because I'm loving the sound of half of that. So now let's move on to the Norse traditional news. So I'm going to hand this over to you for Swindle first, if you've got the details.
So the Final Swindle this Sunday, running a Morai short variant. It's basically 3 formats in one event: Reversal, Archon, and Short Adaptive. You bring 3 decks, and the short variant basically means only 1 game, so it's going to be a lot quicker, but it means that you're still going to need to choose decks that are more centralized on these 3 formats. It's an amazing format created by Karen of the Final Swindle, and I do recommend signing up to this event. Swindle, relatively new to the organising the tournaments, but I've hit the ground running with this.
Oh yeah.
Each of their events have been really good, and a lot of their events tie into upcoming bigger events. They usually have ones that are more interlocked with what's coming up with KOTE. They usually have a lot of events that is interlocked with what's coming up in Kfpl, but there's no real events coming up this time, so Karen is going on there. And yeah, as Jupiter just pointed out in the chat, they also do have the SAS leaderboard, which is a new thing that Karen's brought in, where basically you can challenge for a spot on the leaderboard on any SAS from the lows in the 30s up to the 100s. You can take on anyone that's in that spot. You challenge them against their deck. If you win, you overtake the spot. I did ask Karen to make a video about this while they were doing the deck breakdowns, but unfortunately they were a little bit too busy. So they are going to get us a video for next week. But the leaderboard seems to be one of the most popular things going on at Discord at the minute. I keep getting notifications of people challenging. Karen had successfully defended their title for the majority of the week, and I was going to pimp that out, but then ended up losing a lot of their spots today. Was not having a good day defending their spots.
Unlucky, man, unlucky. So thanks for that. Now we're going to move on to AFK. AFK are having their weekly Keyforge event, which they do every Thursday. This is done in 8 p.m. Paris time, so that's an hour before we start the show, but on Thursdays. This week they had a poll that was created for the players to choose a mandatory house, which is why I love the tribute art they've got here. Basically, there's a SAS Archon best of 1 with 71 SAS cap. Decks must include a Sanctum card, and they must not have discs, so there's no way Brett will be playing.
Hold on. So when it says it must have a Sanctum card...
No, must include Sanctum. Sorry.
Okay, because it's a Sanctum card. What if I have like a Maverick Citizen Strix? Technically a Sanctum card.
Yep. No, I just read the word I wanted to read. It's not there. And they have their usual ban list of Martian Generosity, No Heart of the Forest, and No Imperial Forge. And one day we will understand why they ban Imperial Forge.
I can understand it at the same time, but in a Saurian event, that's a little bit annoying.
It is what it is. And once again, they managed to find another Shadows Prize kit. I don't know how they managed that.
I'm telling you that their distributor is their stores are all working together to do this.
It would make sense to me.
Speaking of Shadow play kits, Ludicrous, the Ludicrous Sealed event is currently going on.
Yep.
For their Shadow kit, and I was quite disappointed because I'd have loved to get a second Urchin figure.
I would love to see one in the flesh.
As soon as it arrives, I will. I keep hassling, can't touch this, but Rebel are trying to get it out to me, but basically they're getting out as quick as they can. But I won quite a bit from them.
Yeah. They may limit it to only Poland next time. So we're going to move on to ABR.
Yes.
So over to you.
Lemon Hobo sent me a nice big assignment here. So week 5 of the ABR League was the SAS Cap event. Each team had 700 SAS points to spend. and that basically meant that much like SAS caps and that, each team basically they couldn't go over 700 SAS for the entirety of the 10 players decks. They saw a record number low Worlds Collide turnout. The only week they've had a low Worlds Collide turnout was on the AOA only event, which kind of makes sense.
What's happened there? Sorry.
Discord argued with me. There. Mass Mutation was the most represented with 39 decks, followed closely by KOTE at 27. Worlds Collide had a 19 turnout and AOA at 15. This is the highest that Worlds Collide has actually had, that AOA's had outside of the AOA only as well. That's quite interesting. But as with this event, Mass Mutation and KOTE kind of dominating the area. The highest houses for this time were actually Shadows with 56, Logos and Dis at 51 and 50 respectively. And the results of this week's ABR: Big Green Gomids were able to take out Hobo's Revenge, which was the featured match. Do go check out the videos from that. Dusk Runners were able to take out the Riders of the Dam 7-3. Plague Drats took out Flumph. There it is. At 6-4. The Quicksouls made the Fuzzy Bunch, took out the Fuzzy Bunch at 6-4 as well. And Z-Force Agents took out Bo Niffing's Bo Problems at 6-4. So a lot of 6-4s going there. However, this does leave Bo Niffing's Bo Problems still in the lead at 40 points, but very closely followed by Z-Force Agents at 38. And everyone else is kind of pulling behind between 22 and 33. But a very close race here between Bo Niffing's Bo Problems and the Z-Force Agents. It's going to be quite interesting to see how this goes as we go into week 6.
Yeah, it's very, very close, man. I'm looking forward to see what happens next week. So, moving on to Bixi here. So, Livana from Bixi is running her storyline-based event, and where they're trying to find which house really is the champion of the Crucible. And this means each time that she runs an event, there'll be 2 houses, and every deck must have one house or the other, and there needs to be equal numbers from each side. And so everyone will bring in this Saturday at 7 PM GMT a Sanctum deck or a Dis deck, and then each Sanctum player will be paired up against a Dis player and so on. Is that correct, Brett? Am I getting that right?
Yeah. So I don't think they'll be paired up against each other, because I think at this moment in time Dis drastically outweighs Sanctum. But basically, you enter the event is you pick Dis, you pick Sanctum. The deck can't contain the other house, so you can't have a Dis and Sanctum deck. And it's basically exploiting the rivalry between these 2 houses to find out which one is better. I believe at this moment in time there is a lot more Dis decks than there is Sanctum. So if you want to rep Sanctum, if you want to take out the demons, then sign up, represent the Sanctum Alliance, and put those demons back on the ground.
Sounds good to me, man. Sounds good to me. And now we are going to move on to this week's KFPL. Now, as we have Jupiter in the chat, I better get it right this week. So, KFPL is this button.
Yeah, I don't think he can hear us.
Okay, there's no music, is there? Anyway, so thanks for that, Jupiter. So we're here. So we saw the current standings. That's great. He was on vacation last week.
KPL did have their dual event, the SAS cap with restrictions and the no SAS cap over the weekend. Big shout out to Ugluk, who took one of them, and I cannot remember. Oh, it's going to bug me now. I know who took the other one. Look 4242 took the capped event, and Echo Dio took the no cap event, with Not Tonight taking second place, and JDG 314 taking second place. All four have got tickets to join the KFPL season 3, which I believe yeah. I can't remember what the actual format of that was going to be. It was quite interesting to see how it was going to go, but it's going to be it's going to be really good to see. I believe the no cap had 25 participants and was a very competitive one from what I heard, and the capped event was just insane decks for the SAS cap, even with the restrictions. With 53 participants, and it was the first tournament to use the decks of Keyforge tournament organizing software, which is what KFPL will be using going forward.
Awesome. As well done to Not Tonight for qualifying for season 3 of KPL.
That was it. Season 3 KFPL is sealed survival.
Is that sealed for each week or sealed for one deck and then you get that all the way through?
Not to quote Jupiter, but 5 decks sealed to elimination.
Okay, makes sense.
So a packet of 5 decks, I imagine.